Good evening, members. Welcome to this digital meeting of Council being held via Microsoft Teams on Tuesday, the 12th of April 2022. Members, I will now ask Mrs. Christina Harry, Chief Executive, to confirm the proceedings for the meeting. Thank you, Mrs. Harry.
Thank you, Mayor, and noswaith Cyngor. Good evening, members. We will not be live streaming this evening's meeting. However, it will be recorded and made available to view via the Council's website, except for discussions involving confidential or exempt items. Therefore, the images, audio of those individuals present and or speaking will be publicly available to all via the recording on the Council website at www.caerphilly.gov.uk. If members lose connection during the live meeting, please make every attempt to reconnect. However, the meeting will continue as long as it remains quorate. Democratic Services staff are available and will be able to assist you to reconnect if necessary. I wish to also remind everyone that the Mayor has the discretion to terminate or suspend recording if, in her opinion, that is deemed necessary. And the Mayor also has the right to remove persons from the remote meeting if that is also deemed necessary. All members should have already checked their headphones, microphones and IT equipment before the meeting commenced. And I wish to remind members and officers to ensure that all microphones have been muted. Group leaders, deputy leaders, cabinet members and key officers have been asked to leave their cameras on. All of the members and officers, please can I ask you to turn off your cameras unless making representations. Members will need to unmute their microphones and turn on their cameras when called to speak by the Mayor. Votes this evening will be taken using Microsoft Forms, and when a vote is required, the monitoring officer will direct members to open Show Conversation, where the form will appear, and then click on Yes, No, Abstain, and then finally click on Submit Vote. The names and votes cast will be recorded and published to our website following the meeting this evening. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mrs. Harry. On to the agenda. Item 1 is apologies for absence, and apologies are also as detailed within the meeting conversation chat. If members are aware of any apologies not listed, please add them to the chat or notify Democratic Services. Thank you. Item 2, Mayor's announcements. Members, as we are now in the pre-election period, I will not be making any announcements this evening, and I will move on to the next item on the agenda. Item 3 is to receive petitions under the Rule of Procedure 28.3. And members, we have no petitions this evening. So again, I will move on to the next item on the agenda. Item 4 is presentation of awards. And again, this evening we have no awards to make, so I will move on to the next item. Item 5 is declarations of interest. Councillors and officers are reminded of their personal responsibility to declare any personal and or prejudicial interests in respect of any item of business on this agenda in accordance with the Local Government Act 2000, the Council's Constitution and the Code of Conduct for both councillors and officers. Are there any declarations? Councillor Mann, please. You're on mute, Councillor Mann, sorry.
My usual trick, sorry. Do we all have to declare interest in relation to the item 10, the family absence protocol?
I'll ask Mr. Tranter to respond. Mr. Tranter?
No, Councillor Mann, there's no need to declare an interest on that item, in my opinion. As with all these matters in declaring interest, it is a matter for you, but my advice to you is that there is no need for you to declare an interest in this matter. Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you both. Okay, there's no other hands showing, so I will move on to item 6 and item 7, which is to approve and sign the following minutes. Members, if we take the minutes for accuracy first, and then I will ask somebody to move and second them as a true account. So first of all, just bear with me, we have the council held on March the 16th of 2022 for accuracy. So we have page 1. page 2, page 3, page 4, page 5, page 6, page 7, page 8, page 9, page 10, and page 11. Okay, Councillor Mann, please.
Apologies, Chair, I forgot to take my hand down.
No problem. Councillor Oddsworth, please.
My hand is raised with regards to the special counsel, Mayor. With regards to, we haven't moved the item for the minutes of item 6. I would move those minutes, and but I have something to say about item 7.
I'm on mute. Okay, once we've come to the special counsel, I will come back to you, Councillor Oddsworth. Thank you. Okay, so we have a mover for the council held on the 16th of March. Do we have a seconder, please?
Seconded, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Priest. So we'll move on to the special council on the 24th of March, which, bear with me a second, which starts on page 13, page 14, page 15, and page 16. So if I come back to you, Councillor Alsworth.
Thank you, Mayor. Just to say that unfortunately, I couldn't make the special counsel, so my apologies aren't listed, I'm afraid. It's a small error.
Thank you, Councillor Alsworth. We'll make sure that's updated. Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you very much.
Councillor Cushing, please.
Yeah, just a quick question, Mayor. Were we supposed to use forms to agree the minutes of item 6 on the agenda first, before moving on to item 7?
We will come back to that now, Councillor Cushing. I'm just going through the minutes. Once I have a proposal in a second, I will take a vote on the minutes. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I propose the minutes then. Propose the minutes.
Thank you, Councillor Priest. Do we have a seconder, please?
I'll second that, Madam Mayor.
That, I believe, was Councillor Hussey.
Correct.
Thank you very much. And with that, that's both minutes been moved and seconded. I'll ask Mr. Tranter to take us to the vote. Thank you.
Yes, good evening, members. You'll have a voting poll in front of you any moment. If you could please vote on the accuracy of the minutes. Thank you.
Hello, Madam Mayor.
Yes, is that Councillor Owen?
It is, yes.
Yes.
We got the two items together, and I was going to abstain on the first one as I wasn't present. So I was going to abstain and for the second item.
Okay,
So,
I'll pass you on to Mr. Tranter. Thank you.
I don't know where I stand now. Thank you.
I'm in a similar situation, Madam Mayor. I was present at the first meeting, but not at the second, so I was going to abstain.
Okay.
And
Mr.
so
Tranter, can you, and Councillor Parry as well, Mr. Tranter, thank you.
Perhaps then we'll make a note of your respective abstentions. So we'll amend the vote to take that into account. Okay. So if I could just have the names of the members involved. I think it was Councillor Owen. And what council meeting was that, Councillor Owen?
I missed the first one, Mr. Tranter. So
Lovely.
I need to abstain the first one. Thank you.
Yeah, that's great. And the next councillor who spoke to me?
Councillor Cushing, Mr. Tranter.
Lovely.
I was
Lovely,
present at agenda item 6, so I was going to agree with that one, but I was going to abstain agenda item 7 because I wasn't present.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Councillor Cushing. And any other members similarly affected?
Yes.
Councillor, who was that?
Sir Alice, yes,
Council-
I was present for the first meeting, but not the second.
Okay, so
Yeah.
abstain for the second, yeah.
And Teresa
Councillor
Parry.
Aldworth. Oh, sorry.
Councillor Aldworth, yeah, I've got that. Which one were you absent for, Councillor Aldworth?
I missed the special meeting.
Okay.
So that's the second one. Thank you.
Lovely. And who's the next, please?
Councillor Parry.
Councillor Parry. And which meeting?
I was present at the special meeting, but not the.
Okay.
Thank you.
So it's the first set of minutes you're going to abstain on.
Yes.
Lovely. Any other members affected?
Yeah, Councillor Gare, I need to abstain on the first one and vote for the second one.
Okie dokie. I've got that, Councillor Gay. And anyone else? Councillor Morgan.
Yes, thanks. I just wanted to make a comment, if it's possible. I could ask the Mayor.
Can we come back to you, Councillor Morgan, or is it about the vote?
It is about the way the vote is taken, actually, Mayor. It was simply that this has happened a number of times where we've taken a vote on block and then gone through this scenario of some people there and some people not. I'm just wondering, wouldn't it be simpler if we simply took each vote for each agenda item as they came along? It seems more sensible.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you,
I'm
Mayor.
sure that Mr Tranter's taken that on board this evening. Thank you, Councillor Morgan. Councillor Cook, you've also got your hand raised.
Yeah, Mr Tranter wasn't present on the 16th either. Thank you.
And Councillor Mann.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I missed the extraordinary meeting. I think you said why I was absent at a family funeral. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Okay, I think that's it, Madam Mayor. The minutes are approved, subject to the abstentions which I've noted. And as regards the new council, we will take a separate vote for each minute going forward. Thank you very much, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Mr Tranter. We'll move on to item 8, which is to receive and to answer questions received under the Rule of Procedure 10.4. Members, there are no questions being received for this evening, so I'll move on to the next item. Item 9 is Members' Induction 2022. Councillor Gordon, I understand that you will introduce this report. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. If you could just bear with me this evening, I'm not in the best of health at the moment. The purpose of this report is to outline the proposed induction programme for the newly elected and returning councillors following the elections in May 2022. The work of a councillor is complex and challenging, and the political, legislative and local landscape in which they work is changing constantly. Communities have a high expectation of their elected representatives. The induction programme was considered by the Democratic Services Committee at its meeting on the 17th of March 2022 and was unanimously or will be unanimously recommended to Council. The recommendations are 3.1. Note the comments of the Democratic Services Committee and approve the updated member and induction programme 2022 at Appendix 1. The reasons: to support newly elected and returning councillors to understand their roles and responsibilities as elected members. I move the recommendations on the report, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Gordon. Councillor Pritchard, I understand that you will second this report. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Can I formally second the report, please? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Pritchard. Councillor Cushion, you've got your hand up. Can I help you?
Yeah, thanks, Madam Mayor. No issue with the report itself. One thing I'd like to ask is regarding the training, the compulsory training for all members, the mandatory training, I should say, for all members. Are some of these dates going to be offered? Is there going to be alternative dates? Reason I'm asking is that I'm not going to be around. If I'm lucky enough to get back onto the council, which fingers crossed I hope I am, but I might not be around for a couple of the dates.
Who's available to answer that? Mrs. Harry, thank you.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Yeah, thank you for raising that point. All mandatory training and indeed all the training wherever we can will be videoed so that members are able to tap into those training sessions at an appropriate time if they're unable to make the event themselves. But if I can ask members that if you find yourself in that position where you're unable to attend, particularly the mandatory training, please let myself, Rob Tranter or Democratic Services staff know so that we can make the appropriate arrangements with you on an individual basis. Thank you, Mayor.
Oh, thank you very much, Chief Exec. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Harry. And I jumped ahead of myself. I should have said that the debate had been moved and seconded and it's now in order and you've got your hands up. So we'll continue with the debate. So my apologies for that. Councillor Etheridge, please.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. Just 3 points, please. First, to a brief. I'd just like to thank the officers for drawing up this detailed induction programme. And I think it would be sort of wrong of me to, I'd like to thank all the members who will actually, who won't be returning because of retirement and for other reasons, for everything they've done in the last 5 years in the council. My main point then is on 2.1 of the report. It refers to complex and challenging with, high expectation of the community. And I would like to ask the officers and all the councillors, please, will they consider after 6 months that reference is made back to the Democratic Services Committee, and I feel that we need to look at performance indicators which could be drawn up, objectives and targets, and I'd like some monitoring of all councillors after 6 months. We're all in this together, Madam Mayor, and I would like to see the Democratic Services Committee after 6 months actually looking at this across the board. And can I move that as a formal recommendation in the recommendations of the report, please? Thank you. I don't know if anyone's going to second it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Etheridge. Perhaps we take Mrs. Harry first, and then we'll see if there's a seconder for that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. If I could just offer some advice there. Members, the report that's in front of you this evening is the detailed induction programme for new members post-election. The offer and the suggestion that Councillor Etheridge has put forward is a matter that if members want to take forward after the new council is formed, that is something that the respective group leaders initially could have a discussion with myself, and if there is consensus, that matter can be taken forward in the appropriate way. So my suggestion would be, members, that if you could focus on the induction programme that's in front of you this evening, and any matters such as that has been suggested, we leave till the new council is formed and we can pick them up appropriately then. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mrs. Harry. Are you happy with Mrs. Harry's suggestion, Councillor Etheridge?
I am happy, but I'd still like reference to it in the recommendations.
So do we have a seconder for that then, please?
Well, I'll second it, Councillor Priest, but I also want to ask a question as well, Madam Mayor, please.
Okay, I've got several other speakers in front of you, Councillor Priest, so I will come back to you.
Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Adams is next. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It was just to follow up on the induction program. With all the paperwork that we had for nominations, of course, we had early sight of the induction program dates, and I realised that I would have to change a possible holiday booking because so many were in the first week of June. So I've done that, but I will, if re-elected, possibly have to miss one of the committees that I may have been sitting on. I may have to miss that one in that second week, which I will be away. But it's good to know that we'll be able to look at any recordings of training, which for this particular committee is going through substantial change anyway. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Adams. Councillor Pritchard, please.
Thank you, Mayor. In reference to Councillor Etheridge's comments regarding sort of checks and balances after 6 months of new councillors and returning councillors getting elected to the council, I'm a bit uncomfortable with this. I think that new councillors in particular, we've all been new councillors before. It takes a lot longer than 6 months for councillors to find their feet, you know, in the council. And in fact, if we're all honest, we're all learning. I've been a councillor for nearly 10 years. I learn something every week. Also, I don't know how the Democratic Services Committee could agree, you know, sort of in an objective way about how they could assess the performance of councillors. I mean, this is very subjective. I wouldn't argue for that recommendation going forward on that basis. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Pritchard. Does anyone else want to speak on this amendment, or shall I take it to the vote now?
I want to speak on it. You said you'd call me back, Mayor.
Yeah, that's fine, Councillor Priest. Would you like to come in now? Thank you.
Yeah. Really, on what Councillor Pritchard's saying, really, as much as what Councillor Edwards has said, it might sound good, but at the end of the day, there's so many things that come in on this. We can start talking about judging a person, a councillor, on a particular time. We're not all equal learning. We are not all equal learning. Like, I've been a councillor 30 odd years, but I should imagine there's a lot I still don't know about it. I'd like to know exactly the outcome of what he's saying. Is he saying after 6 months you're no good, to check us out? Because only people who can check me out is other voters. So this is where we've got to be careful what Councillor Evans is saying. Not everybody is the same. Not everybody is the same. And all I'm trying to make sure that we're not after 6 months have somebody backside starting to tweet a bit because they don't think they're up to scratch and they're going to wonder what's going to happen. So if I can have a couple of questions, answers to the question, I would be more than happy, Madam Mayor. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Priest. I've got hands showing from Councillor Ridgewell and Councillor Morgan. I'm assuming you both want to speak on the amendment.
I did, Madam Mayor, if I may.
Okay, Councillor Ridgewell, please come in. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. I think it's an interesting point made by Councillor Etheridge, and I'm actually a supporter broadly of performance appraisal. I think that critically what I'd like to see is the kind of the amount of commitment that members make in terms of being party to meetings and joining meetings. As we know, quite often members are invited to join particular meetings and decline the offer. So I think as long as that information is made readily available, I'd broadly be supporting this. Thank you.
Message audio. Thank you, Councillor Ridgewell. Councillor Morgan, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm a bit astonished, actually, that this has been brought forward. I mean, surely the only people who judge councillors are our residents.
Thank you.
Are councillors going to judge other councillors? That would be a pretty uncomfortable position. Are officers going to start judging councillors? That'd be an even more awkward position, I think. The whole idea, I think, is a little bit absurd and perhaps not too well thought through.
Yeah.
It is down to our residents to judge us. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Morgan. Councillor Etheridge, as it's your amendment, do you want to speak again before I ask Mr. Tranter to take us to the vote on it?
Yes, Madam Mayor, in closing the debate, I'm a bit astonished about Councillor Morgan arguing against performance measures. That's all I really asked for, was a sort of comment in the actual report that the Democratic Services Committee would look at this. And I can just, and I do agree with Councillor Ridgewell as well, it would look at attendance and across the board. There is no suggestion here of sort of blaming councillors or pointing the finger or throwing people out. That, you know, I just want a reference to sort of good practice. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Etheridge. Councillor Cushin, Councillor Etheridge was just closing that amendment. Now, do you wish to speak on that, or can I ask Mr. Tranter to take us to the vote on that, please?
Well, only a quick comment, really, Madam Mayor. Aren't we already accounted for? Because committee services, I do apologise, already make a record of attendance at meetings, and we each have to annually submit a report anyway, which is published on the website. I'm just a bit confused exactly what's required, you know, regarding performance.
Okay, thank you. If there's no other comments, I will ask Mr. Tranter to take us to the vote on this amendment. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. There's a poll coming before you shortly, members. You are voting on the proposal of Councillor Etheridge about some sort of performance management, seconded by Councillor Priest. So you are just voting on that amendment, if you would, please. Thank you. You can have, I'll give you 60 seconds to vote, if I may. Thank you.
Mr. Tranter, I wanted to vote against actually, but I seen then after my flicked across, I abstained, but I wanted to vote against. So perhaps you can correct that on there for me, please, Councillor Priest.
Okay, Councillor Priest. So you want to vote against the amendment you seconded. Okay, thank you.
That's right. Yeah, yeah.
Any other members having technical difficulties in voting?
Yes, sorry. Councillor Parry voting for.
Voting for, okay.
Councillor Ridgewell, Mr. Tranter, the voting poll hasn't come up.
Yeah. How would you like to vote, Councillor Ridgewell?
I'm opposed to this.
You're voting no.
Mr.
Okay.
Tranter, yeah.
Okay. Any other members with difficulties? No. Okay. Therefore, Madam Mayor, that vote on the amendment is lost. So the amendment is lost. There were 8 for and 35 against, 3 abstentions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tranter. Are there any further comments on the report as presented by Councillor Gordon, please, before the amendment? Mrs. Harry, please.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. If I could just make members aware, if I can refer to page 23, Appendix 1, and the session on Tuesday, the 10th of May, where I will give members an overview of the council. I'd just like to raise with members that in that presentation I also intend to share with members and highlight to members some of our key strategic partnerships, including the Cardiff Capital Region. I'm aware that members in the past have been quite vocal, particularly around the Cardiff Capital Region, and we look to include that as part of the induction programme. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mrs. Harry. Councillor Adams, please.
A question for Mr. Tranter, Mayor, if you don't mind, regarding the vote we've just taken. As it was noted, Councillor Priest had seconded Councillor Etheridge's proposal and then effectively voted against it. Was that in effect him withdrawing his seconding support? And should that have been noted and we should have asked for a different seconder in order to make the vote actually properly professional for us?
No, I don't think so, Councillor Adams.
That's okay.
Until Councillor Priest voted against, I didn't know that he was no longer supporting the amendment. So I haven't got a crystal ball.
Just wanted to make sure we were.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. I think it's in order, Councillor Adams.
Okay.
I think it's in order, and we're back now to the substantive motion, members, which are the recommendations within the report. I hope that's helpful, Councillor Adams. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tranter and Councillor Adams. Are there any other speakers?
I would just like to say, Councillor Priest, just as my name was mentioned, Madam Mayor, if you don't mind, please.
Yes, Councillor Priest.
As a matter of fact, just to answer Councillor Adams, it's on past training that I do I can do that. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Okay, there are no other hands showing, so I will ask Mr. Tranter to take us to the vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Members, so we're now voting on the report on the substantive motion. The poll is in front of you. Could you place your vote, please? Any members having difficulties, can you please tell me how you wish to vote? Thank you very much.
Councillor Parry, for.
Thank you, Councillor Parry. Any other members?
Councillor Ridgewell, Rob, for.
Thank you, Councillor Ridgewell.
Councillor Vince James, for.
Thank you very much, Councillor James. I think that's it. And with that, Madam Mayor, the report is approved, and there were 45 votes for and 1 against, no abstentions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tranter. We'll move on to item 10, which is changes to the family absence protocol for members of local authorities. And this is Councillor Gordon again. I understand that you will introduce this report. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. My final report as a Cabinet member to Council. The purpose of this report is to advise Council of the changes to the family absence protocol for members of local authorities, which increase the amount of paid absence a member is entitled to in respect to adoption leave, and to seek approval from Council to incorporate the amended protocol within the Constitution, and to ask Council to note the changes to the period of adopters' absence for members as a result of the Local Government and Elections Wales Act 2021, and to authorise the Head of Legal Services, a Monitoring Officer, to incorporate the amended protocol within the Constitution. The recommendations are: Council is asked to note the content of the report and changes made to the family absence for members of the local authority protocol as set out in Appendix 1, and to authorise the Head of Legal Services, a Monitoring Officer, to change the Constitution by substituting the existing protocol with the amended version attached. Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move the report and the recommendations within it.
Thank you, Councillor Gordon, and I hope you feel better soon. And Councillor Andrew Whitcomb, I understand that you will second this report. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm more than happy to second this report as outlined in paragraph 3.
Thank you, Councillor Whitcomb. Having been moved and seconded, the debate is now in order. Members, if you have any comments, please indicate now using the hands up button. Please just turn your camera and microphone on when called, and lower your hand again by clicking on the hands up button when you are finished making your representations. Are there any comments? Nope, there are nobody with their hands raised, so I will ask Mr. Tranter to take us to the vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Members, the poll is in front of you. Can you please vote on that poll? And you are voting on the recommendations contained within the report, and that is effectively to adopt the protocol and to put that now in the Constitution. Thank you, members. Once again, members, anyone having any difficulty, if you could please let me know and I'll make a note of how you wish to vote. Thank you very much.
Councillor Parry, for.
Thank you very much, Councillor Parry. Councillor Ridgewell.
Yeah, Mr. Tranter, yes, unfortunately, the voting poll hasn't come up. Before I cast my vote, I'd just like to say farewell to everybody. This will be my last council meeting. I shall miss you immensely, but I'll get over it the following day. And I'm also going to vote for this motion.
Thank you, Councillor Ridgewell. And Councillor James, are you okay with this one?
Yes, yeah, I voted, and I
fantastic.
Just like to say goodbye to everyone as well. Good luck for the future.
Thank you very much, Councillor James. Thank you. Therefore, Madam Mayor, the protocol is approved unanimously, 45 votes, and that concludes your agenda this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Chanter. We have reached the conclusion of the meeting. I would like to thank everyone for attending this evening's meeting of Council. As it is the final meeting of Council for this Council term, I would like to thank my Deputy Mayor, Councillor June Stone, for her support, and my thanks to officers and members for all their hard work during my time in office. Obviously, my best wishes go to all retiring councillors this evening, and hopefully I will see many of you, including myself, on the other side. And I guess that Councillor Mann, you'd like to say a few words. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Just to support your comments, I think in spite of what some of the critics say about this, I think councillors who do the job properly do work very hard. And there are a lot of people who have worked hard for the last 5 years who will not be rejoining either voluntarily or otherwise. And I think if something could be recorded in the minutes, just as a thank you to everyone who will not be restarting after May the 5th. Diolch, Matt.
Thank you, Councillor Mann. Mrs. Harry, please.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Yeah, just on behalf of the staff of the council, I'd like to wish all your members the best of luck in whatever your endeavours are after the election. I'm really mindful that there is a lot and lots of years of experience and service that is sat around this virtual table this evening, and on behalf of the communities of Caerphilly, I'd like to thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mrs. Harry. Does anyone else wish to make a comment?
Just like to say, endorse really, Madam Mayor, if you don't mind, Councillor Priest.
Thank you, Councillor Priest.
Yeah, I just like to say thank you for all my fellow councillors over the years, and obviously some won't be coming back, some will, and there'll be bad luck stories and good luck stories, but that's the way to go. Thank you all, one and all, for your company over the last 5 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Priest. Councillor Cushing, please.
Yeah, I'd just like to iterate everybody's comments. Good luck in the election. And as Councillor Priest so succinctly said, there'll be some good luck stories and there'll be some hard luck stories. But I'd like to wish everyone all the best, whatever the outcome. And especially to Councillor Wyn David, happy retirement. You've been a good adversary.
Thank you, Councillor Cushing. Thank you, everybody. There are no further hands showing, so I will declare the meeting closed for this evening, and you may now hang up. Thank you and good evening.
Good evening all. Ta-ra now.